So I am a huge Milwaukee junkie just because I use them all the time, and that is the one tool brand that I've tried that seems to work and hold up, and you can see how beat up these tools are. They haven't failed me after all the abuse I've put on them. I have piles and piles of Milwaukee batteries and chargers and just so much abundance, and once you get started on one tool brand, it's really hard to break off into something else because everything just fits the same battery and it doesn't really make any sense to go any other direction. But what if, just what if, there was a battery that could fit other things? How would one battery manage to fit multiple brands when they all have a slightly different design on the bottom? That's where this thing comes in. Now this thing is a portable battery pack that charges USB-C, but also is a power bank if you should need such things. Now you're asking yourself, how is this supposed to power this? Do I plug in a cable and put some little alligator clips on there and carry this around? No. So what you'll see is we have little grooves in here where we have the power connections. With this, we now have the ability to snap on different styles of adapters. This one is for DeWalt. I didn't need a Milwaukee one because I already have all the batteries. What I did have is this DeWalt Impact that has been sitting for the longest time just in one of my toolboxes. I have no battery, I have no charger, I have nothing else for it besides this DeWalt Impact. So is it possible that we can use a universal battery system with the right adapter and get this thing to actually work? And if that's an option, additionally, how well does this thing hold up? How much capacity does it have? How much real world use can I actually get out of it before I have to charge it? But the other thing that I really like just off the bat about this is there is some heft to it. It really has weight. So there is some density into the batteries and the whatever's inside of here. It's not just an empty shell with, you know, a couple 18650s claiming to be able to put in the work. The other thing that I really like about this just off the bat is the ability to just charge it USB-C. So when I'm rolling around in the tow truck, I don't have to stop. I don't have to go back and swap batteries. I don't have to carry additional batteries. If I just had this, I could plug it in and I could continue to keep it charged throughout the day. Without further ado, we're going to take this DeWalt adapter, just slide it on there like that. I already have fully charged it, so we can see 4 green lights on there, and then slap it on there. And you can see normal tool batteries, they do have a little jiggle to them. This is nothing excessive. This is completely within the realm of normal. We can compare it to this one, where we actually seem to have a lot more jiggle to it, and it's still perfectly fine, and it still works and does its job. So no concern there. So we're gonna put this on 3, setting 3 of 3, and no problem there. That was just me clicking it twice. Me clicking it twice. No problem there. So far this thing does deliver plenty of juice, and it will rip off these lug nuts, but I have a lot of cars to get through today, and I'm going to use just this for as long as I can on as many cars as I can, and we're going to see how long it lasts. interesting. Keeps popping off the tab there. Alright. Alright, so the battery does work. It doesn't seem to have any issues with enough power to take the tires off. Still at full 4 bars. But the issue I was having is when I have a lug nut a little bit stuck in there, I go to tap it. This has enough flex in here for the battery to start sliding off. So this locking tab in here needs to be improved. But I think if this is going to be, because I don't have any other DeWalt. I use Milwaukee. I use Milwaukee for everything. Everything else is Milwaukee. This is like my only DeWalt tool. So for this situation, since I don't have any other DeWalt tools to really use this with, this is going to be the dedicated battery for this DeWalt. So I think I'm going to end up just wrapping this thing with electrical tape or something to keep it from sliding off. And then it'll still, you know, be chargeable and everything. But that locking tab, there's just a little pin in there, and that definitely has to be improved because there's too much flex in here. And it's allowing the battery to slide off with even just normal use. So besides that little issue I had with the battery popping off when I was tapping the stuck lug nuts out, there really wasn't anything else that I could find that I had any problems with. The whole thing just seemed to work. There's no cats. No cats.
Now the other thing to keep in mind here is this is real world testing. This isn't some clean desktop table with brand new threads and we torque something to 100 foot-pounds and rip it off twice and say it works. This is dozens of vehicles. These are probably hundreds of lug nuts at this point. And this is various degrees of rust and corrosion. Most of these are probably put on by Jiffy Lube guys that just impact them on as tight as they can. And then they've been on there for who knows how many years. This is real world scenario stuff. And this is showing how it's used as it's really used in the field. And the other thing that you should take note of is all of this testing, even a lot of the vehicles that I haven't shown here, this entire video is on one charge of the battery pack. This thing just kept going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny, and it just wouldn't quit. The only time I really had any sort of issue with it was on this Mazda here, where there was just one lug nut. I got around to the fourth one, and I ugga-dugga it a few times, and it just wouldn't go. Admittedly, I didn't try very hard. I checked the battery level. It said 3 out of 4 lights, so I just assumed it was a little bit low, and that was going to be the end of my testing. So I grabbed the Milwaukee and just ripped it off.
The DeWalt struggled a bit on that last lug nut, and it did say 3, but now it's back up to 4, so I'm not sure. Before I even plug it in to charge it, I'm gonna go try it on a couple more tires and just see if that one was extra stuck or something, but we're gonna see. All right, we are going to give this another shot, make sure we're on power level 3. Oh. Yeah, maybe that Mazda one was just extra stuck or something, I'm not sure, but it's ripping off all of these ones just fine. And you can hear it's hitting before it actually spins, so they are on there pretty tight.
After I gave it another chance, it just continued to perform flawlessly the rest of the night, and it didn't really give me any issues. It just went and went and went, and from the beginning of the fully charged battery to the end of the night, after all of the cars that went through and all the lug nuts that ripped off, I didn't notice any reduction in power. It seemed to have the same amount of oomph from the first car to the last car, and even at the end of the night, it still had at least 3/4 of the battery left. So any sort of real world scenario where you would have this thing out in your service truck, this capacity in this battery is going to be perfectly adequate for whatever you're doing. I'm using this thing a lot more than the average person might, and the average user would also probably charge it multiple times in between as much use as this is getting. I don't have any issues with the battery capacity, I don't have any issues with the performance, and we did accidentally drop it a couple of times onto the ground and just picked it up, snapped it back in, and just kept on going. Durability test complete. I would probably have to give this thing, I would say, an 8 out of 10 stars. The 2 stars are simply for the battery pack having the ability to slip off. If that issue was corrected, if the adapters were redesigned a little bit to have a little bit longer tab in there to lock them in a little better, so the flex between the battery and the adapter wouldn't be enough for it to pop out, I would give it 10 out of 10 stars. The ability to recharge it from your vehicle, that's a huge bonus for me. I love that. That means I don't have to go back to the house or go back to the shop. I don't have to go swap it out with another battery pack on the charger. I can just simply plug it in between point A to point B and continue to keep it topped up. That's awesome.
Ooh, looks like this whole strut and everything's popped off here. So
I do have the Milwaukee DC chargers in some of my trucks, and that's awesome. I just love having the ability to charge the batteries on the go, and with a system like this, you can simply charge them from your phone charger. You don't need any extra special chargers to keep this battery charged up. It also does double as a power bank. It does have a USB port. You could plug something else into it. I don't really see myself using that feature a whole lot, but it is there, and it is nice if you really need to. So overall, would I recommend this product? Yep, I definitely would, but I would like to see the lock on the adapter changed a little bit so it wouldn't be able to pop out like that. And after that, I really have nothing bad to say about it.
the battery pack kind of separates, so it needs a stronger pin in there to lock it in. And of course the last one's a different size.